let's go from one that we had before the show. It's a 12-team Superflex, half PPR, start 11. Gave James Conner and Tyreek Hill. Got ETN, Bateman, and the 202, which turned out to be Shane's boy, James Cook. What do you think?
To get the RB1 of the class at 202. No, I'm kidding. I kid. I jest because I love James Cook. I was actually just going over a list of players that I'm trying to get out of. Tyreek Hill is right at the top of that anywhere I've left. So ETN, Bateman in the 202, I'm fine with that, considering that James Conner is a regression nightmare. He's in the regression pothole.
I'm not as high on James Cook as Shane, but I think you can arguably say James Cook and James Conner are fairly close. I think a lot of people would say, oh, if I'm at that pick and I can get James Cook and I like him as much as Shane, then I'm not taking James Conner. So essentially those are a wash. Maybe you add like a third to the James Cook side. But then it's Tyreek for Bateman and ETN. I mean, I think that's a dream pivot off of a 28, 29-year-old wide receiver that's changing teams. So yeah, give me, especially start 11. Give me the 3 side all day. Great trade.
Good trade. Okay, so we're gonna get rid of that one. I'm gonna stay organized this time. I missed one from our subscribers last week, and I was a little upset with myself, to say the least. So we're gonna go to
life. Oh, sorry. So I just saw Balls' life in the comments. Just very excited. Balls' life. I always say Wednesday on another show. Hi, Balls' life.
Nice on Fantasy Intervention. All right, so let's put up. This is Pace's trade. 12-team Superflex PPR. It's a 0.25 point per carry. So each rush attempt, you get 0.25. And that's a big one. And it's start 10. So gave Jonathan Taylor, Devontae Smith, Ryan Tannehill, Rashad Penny, and Laviska Shenault. So a lot of pieces there. Got Patrick Mahomes, Rashad Bateman, the 111, which turned out to be Sky Moore, and a 24-second. So let's see.
This. Mahomes better than Taylor. Bateman over Devontae Smith. 111 over Tannehill. So essentially, you got a 2024 second for Rashad Penny, and Laviska Shenault's worthless. So give me the get side on like all aspects. I don't even care if it's point per carry. You get Mahomes and you get all that other stuff. That's a smash.
Laviska's probably not worthless. I'm sure that someone cares about him somewhere. It's just not in our universe. But in one of the multiverses, I'm sure Laviska is a wide receiver one, like some people thought he was going to be in this timeline. That never happened. But yeah, that's easy, the Mahomes side. I mean, JT, I take Mahomes straight up, and then you get Bateman and the 111 for Devonta and Tannehill, basically, is how I'm breaking it out in my mind. I love Devonta, but Bateman's in a better situation. And the 111 for Tannehill, it's good stuff. And yeah, no one cares about Rashad Penny or Laviska in this timeline. So see
ya. Bye, Felicia. Okay, so let's delete that one there, and let's go to can you guys do me a favor and heart a couple in the comments? I'm gonna go to one more that I've got preloaded here.
Well, no, I can't, Clay, because you still won't give me any access to anything.
Oh yeah, you're not allowed. That's way too much responsibility for you.
Actually, I just see one talking 2025 first, which is right up Shane's alley.
Oh so. Yeah, that class is gonna smash when they get out of pull-ups. Okay, let's do this one right here. 12-team Superflex PPR start 10. Gave Jalen Hurts, got a 23 first and a 23 second. He asked if he got enough. His other QBs are Brady, Burrow, Tannehill, and Trevor Lawrence. What do you think, guys? Let's call it a mid. I'm not sure if it's early, mid, late. Maybe in the chat you can tell us. But what do you think? 23 first and second for Hurts.
Done.
Yeah, I mean,
done. Bye.
And I think the context does matter here. I mean, he has literally 5 quarterbacks. Now, would I have rather traded more and given away Tom Brady and Ryan Tannehill? Yeah, but at the same time, like, you have 5 quarterbacks. I think you need to get some liquidation, and then you have a first and second bagged for whatever you want to spend it on during the season. So, I mean, I can agree I think we can all probably agree a world where Jalen Hurts exceeds the value of a single 23 first quite easily. Yep. I think a lot of people actually would pay that if they were trying to build, a team around 2 elite quarterbacks and he was the only one they could get. But I think in this context, he's got some time to now figure out what he wants to do with those first. This is liquidation season. If you have excess and you can trade for picks, You got to bet you can probably get a quarterback similar to Jalen Hurts with a similar risk profile, literally, if you wanted to tomorrow with those same picks.
Yeah, context matters. Nothing happens in a vacuum, as our friends over at Rookie Fever say. But yeah, I'm going to agree with Scott there. Jalen Hurts could significantly outplay that, because if he comes out and he smashes and is a QB1 again this year, he's also bought himself even more job security. But if I take off my green-colored contacts, there's a world I can see where Jalen Hurts, it doesn't take a step forward, and the Eagles are looking for a new quarterback in 2023.
So let's say he smashes / has a really good year, and it's looking like he's going to have a pretty solidified career, not just fantasy. What do you see him? Dynasty QB what? What do you think he can get up to?
6, 5,
6. Yeah.
I think he goes ahead of Burrow, or at least he's right there with Burrow, because he's essentially, he could be Lamar Jackson, or he could be Drew Lock's a little bit of a slight, but I mean, he could be a guy that's fighting for a job. He could be Tyrod Taylor when he had a starting job for a couple years. So I mean, could go both ways. But I think there's some upside with Hurts where, maybe we have to refresh talking about Hurts again on the channel.
We do. I think that was our third episode. Was Jalen Hurts.
Well, and I think there's some theory out there that the Eagles are actually way more sold on Hurts than any of us think. They're just not going to say anything. And they know that all these other teams are going to have to pay their quarterbacks $50+ million a year here coming soon. They can probably get Hurts for 25, 30, and they'll just live with the price difference. So I think there's an angle there where they're actually seeing Hurts as the long-term guy, but they have no incentive with all their future capital and the way they've built up their team. They have no incentive to just talk about it right now. You know what I mean? Like, he falls flat on his face, suffers a bad injury this year. There's no reason to commit, but I think in-house, and I'll let Shane speak to this, I think in-house, the Eagles are probably sitting there going like, we're ready to extend Hurts if we had to choose right now, but they don't have to. So what's the rush?
Yeah. That's the thing. They don't have to. So instead, what they did is they build up the roster around them and go, all right, well, now show us. Now prove to us that you can't do it is more than is the feeling I get. Not the sense to prove to us that you can do it. Prove to us that you can't do it. Prove to us that we have to look for another option. Even in this offseason when they were kicking the tires on quarterbacks, it was guys like Russ Wilson, Deshaun Watson. It was like elite tier, Super Bowl winning Hall of Fame type quarterbacks, well, except for Watson. But that's kind of like the tier they were looking at. They were looking at a super elite tier. So I think they're sold on them. But yeah, like you said, there's no reason they don't have to extend them now. So don't.
Yep. Okay, let's go to some of the trades from the chat. So thank you, Scott, for starring them. One day we'll give you those responsibilities, Shane.
2023 first.
We'll get there. Sutton and an early 2023 second for a mid 23 first.
I assume it's a 12 team. This is actually the kind of trade I like doing in a 14 team or 16 team, especially if I can really project where that first and second is going to be, because you're talking about if it's 113 and 206, typically in a lot of classes that's going to be closer to a tier than it's going to be 104 and 111. You know what I mean? So I think in actually 14 or 16 teams, I'm actually okay doing this type of trade if I can get the 2-for-1. But in a 12 team, if I end up missing on that first and it's a 104 105, then I would have given this easy. So I think there's some context, but I'd probably still lean the first. But he says early second. Is that what do you say, Shane? Early second? I mean, he's probably thinking, 106 and 202.
I don't care.
Jake doesn't like Sutton.
It could be the 201. No, I like Sutton fine, but he's most certainly not one of those dudes that I'm holding on to over a 2023 first. All that doesn't have an actual draft slot until December the 16th or so. So I can dream on that to be anything I need it to be. And so can my league mates when I'm sending them offers in the season to get a good wide receiver. I'll turn around and use that on a wide receiver that's actually productive, like a Deontay Johnson or something like that.
Now, would you send this, though? Because I think this is the type of trade, this exact trade on the screen is a type of trade as we get closer to the season, when people are looking at their lineup and looking at points, this is the exact kind of trade that people may consider taking. If they're getting that's the worst team in the league, I'm getting their 201, and all I'm giving away is my 109, because, of course, I'm going to make the playoffs if I add X player that I'm getting. Like, is this the kind of trade you would send, or would you send Sutton for the mid-first straight up and then take this if they countered? How would you approach it?
I'm trading Sutton, right?
You're trading Sutton, but obviously you don't want to
giving him away.
Say you're tanking and you're looking at Sutton. You're going, oh, he's going to be 28 after next year. He's not a player I want to rebuild around. You're not sending the early second with Sutton right off bat. You're trying to get the mid first or the 23 first by itself, but you would accept this if it was countered.
Yeah. Like there's not a doubt in my mind that I would accept this as soon as it's countered. And I'd also almost expect that first offer to be countered with this, knowing like, you know what, this is going to be the final form. But by law, I can't just automatically send this out to you. I can't send what I'll just actually accept as my first offer.
Right.
So it's bad precedent between us.
Now, if you have Russ Wilson and you're a contender, you still accept that?
I'll still take it.
Okay.
The 23 first I can use to get a good player.
I'm just pushing you. I think
I know, but I could easily flip that for Deontay Johnson instead, who's going to outscore Sutton by 4 or 5 points a game at least at a minimum. Minimum? That's how you say that word. Minimum.
It is. Minimum. Yeah, I mean, it's just the psychological aspect of it too. It's a first as opposed to a second. I don't care if somebody's looking at it. That could be the
201. It doesn't matter.
It's a first.
Yeah, it says the 112 is significantly worth more than the 201, even though they're separated by literally nothing but an imaginary line.
Yeah. By the way, let's see, we got 81 eyeballs in here. If you wouldn't mind, smash that like if you're liking. If you're not liking, hang out. Maybe you'll like us in a little bit here. Okay, so Kyle Pitts burner account. We've got Waddle, Albert O, and a 23 second, or Diggs and a 23 first. This is a half PPR, no premium, 12 team. So are we gonna assume this is a start 9?
I don't know why I started this one because it's obvious. I think you take Diggs in the first.
Yeah, I don't care what start this
I guess,
is.
this one doesn't.
First.
Yeah. I was like, here I am looking for the format and seeing where it is. Doesn't really matter. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's go to this one. It is from Pianio 13. That'll work. 12 team Superflex start 10. Sent away Hollywood and a 23 second for DK. Ooh, I like it. I'll take DK there.
So I know Scott hates this because of the process.
That's why I pointed to you.
I love, I'm a DK guy. You've seen his chest, right? His chest is impressive.
His chest is like my chest. That's what I look like. That's what I look like without my shirt on.
No, man, DK, if we talk about the receivers that could pick up a ton of value, obviously Hollywood could, but DK is fawned upon in the community by both male, females, all of us, binary. We all love him. And he's a guy, if he goes out there and puts up a top 12 season with Drew Lock and the Drek that is Geno Smith, like there's just his value will just skyrocket. Hollywood, even last year when he was a wide receiver one for the first half of the season, nobody was buying into it. So I'm going to go DK. I like it. I understand that it's not good process, but sometimes, we play with our hearts and we play with projections. And I like this because you're projecting DK to smash.
Yeah. Where are you there, Scott? You're not on DK. You go in process. That's a little.
I haven't committed to a side yet.
Process.
I have not committed to a side yet because Shane gave away the process part at the beginning. Now, I think this is one where I would even strongly pulling the trigger on this one if I'm giving Metcalf. Not because I think Metcalf's going to outproduce Hollywood Brown. I mean, he's not producing a top 12 season with Drew Lock or Geno Smith. Now, I actually kind of like the fact that if they were to trade for Baker Mayfield, I like DK's value to bounce back a little bit. The way Seattle runs their offense is going to be very frustrating, but the community loves DK Metcalf. Everything has gone right for Hollywood Brown in terms of you couldn't have scripted a better situation for him to get traded back to his college quarterback, Hopkins to get suspended. This has been the entire summer of the peak of what his value is ever going to be. He has to go out and be, Brandon Cooks plus 20% probably to be more valuable than he is right now. And I think you're going to see a bounce back for DK. So I think I would still take the Metcalf side just because I can probably resell down the road again for even more just because his name's DK Metcalf. So no, you did not peg this one correctly, Shane. I'll go with the DK side.
There we go. So, okay. So here's one. This one hasn't been sent yet. So this is a give me some advice question here. 12 team, 1 QB, half PPR, start 9. Give Elijah Mitchell or Josh Jacobs. Get CEH in the 207.
In a 12-team superflex, start 10 or 11, I would do this. If it's a one quarterback, start 9. There's no reason to get an extra 207 on top of CEH. Not enough for me to downgrade. You know how I counter this trade? I give a second and try to get a first. And that's probably going to get declined because who wants to give a first plus another usable running back for Josh Jacobs or Elijah Mitchell? Nobody. So I think this is just kind of you're drawing dead. I would just keep who I have.
Yeah, and I'm definitely not giving up Elijah Mitchell for CEH in any form of a second rounder. Screw that. Not based off the upside.
Unless I've already sold that 207 on a cascading trade to be had, I'm not doing that. Because as it stands, that's the losing side. So, okay, we will hide that one. Let's go to this one right here. It is a 12-team Superflex PPR start 11 rebuilding. Gave Damian Harris, got early to mid 23 second, and the 403 Justin Ross. That's who it was.
I mean, fine. You're rebuilding. But I want Damian Harris. But no, if you're rebuilding, that makes sense. You get a second for him. I don't know that you'll be able to get a second for him. There's a possibility that you won't be able to get a second for him at this time next year.
Yeah, we should do a show on Damian Harris. What do you think?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I was gonna say I wasn't. Shane likes Damian Harris, so do I. And I think the argument of, well, he could be something down the road, not just this year, but is there a world where he's worth a first? Like, even if we say best case scenario, he goes out, has a RB 20 season this year, and then hits free agency, are people going to be handing out? Nobody's handing out 23 firsts, even if he literally were to sign in a great spot next year. Like, he's still not going to probably crack that. So take the second and Justin Ross. Try to get a third for Justin Ross. Then I love this trade.
What show startup trade in soon? Okay. Man, it got so quiet with Shane being on mute. Thank you, Shane. Or are we still even live? It doesn't even feel like the show.
I got a lot of fireworks going off around me. A lot of fireworks.
All right, so let me hide that one. I'm trying to stay organized so I don't miss any this time. Okay, let's go back to one of them from the comments. Okay, do you want to put it up, Scott? The one you were talking about?
Yeah, let me see if I can find it. Just want to throw this one up there because we don't get a lot of startup trades. So this is obviously this is what we call trying to get in to get the other elite quarterback probably. And I just wanted to answer this one because one of the things that I have two tenets when I'm trying to trade and get the elite quarterbacks. One, don't give up more picks than you're getting. So he didn't violate that rule here. Technically, he got 3 picks for 3 picks. I don't like giving up my future first, though. I'd rather give up my 301 and my 212 and even my 501 and get back a first, an 8th, or a 10th or something like that. Like, I'm fine moving basically all my non-first round picks for lower picks. So even if I'm going down from the 3rd to the 4th to the 5th to this, I'm fine going into it with a bunch of 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th round picks instead of foregoing, the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. So I just want to throw, I don't know if you guys have any different scenario, but I don't want to give up my 23 first in this trade because essentially that's almost like giving up. What would you guys say in a 12 team? 23 firsts are probably somewhere in the 3rd, 4th, 5th round of the startup.
I was going to say the 4th round is where those are now.
I just did my list. I was doing a DLF mailbag today, and I was like, all right, I got to break down and do my list. And I came up with 14 players that I would trade a 2023 first for, non-quarterback. So it's a small list. And now I wouldn't do this. Only way I'm doing this is if for some reason everyone in my league is just, I don't know, catatonic, and somehow Lamar Jackson has fallen to 108, and I'm pairing him with Justin Herbert. And then I'm going, all right, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, I would do it, but I would just counter with the 212, 301, and try your 612 first and try to get back a 1st, 9th, and 10th or something like that. But essentially, if we're saying the 23 first is worth what, like a 4th round startup pick, maybe just for in a casual league.
Yep.
I mean, you're essentially giving up 3 picks that are worth at least a 23 first plus, and all you're really getting back is that 23 second. You know what I mean? So it just violates the rule of, I don't want to move. I'd rather move another startup pick and get a later one back instead of give my 23 first now. Because now if you don't if you don't really thread the needle with your startup picks, you've lost your 23 first. That's the risk. I always want to hold that back if I'm making this move. So good question, though.
Okay, let's go to this one here. Live. Whoops, correct the wrong button. Okay, let's go to this one. Alejandra C gave Kelce, got DJ Moore, 12-team PPR, not tight end premium. Gave Kelce and got DJ Moore. What do you think?
Man, we love DJ Moore. Probably maybe me more than Shane this year. Shane more than me in years past. I mean, we're both big DJ Moore fans. I think I can see why you would do this, but I can also see where if you can trade a wide receiver 2 to get Travis Kelce, then I'm okay doing it. Positional advantage over, the stability of the future points, I think. But I think it's close. This is probably the best you can get in a non-tight end premium, honestly.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Like, it's good to dream that like Kelce will get me more, but he's 46 years old. So I could see taking this, especially if I'm a little weak at wide receiver. And I have, I don't know, Dalton Schultz, who I think is going to give me an adequate representation of Travis Kelce. And Travis Kelce will probably be out of the league in 2 years. So I'm fine with this, even if I'm not enamored with DJ Moore anymore.
I like it. He's more of a live asset, to use Scott's lingo there. All right, let me hide this one. Okay, let's go. Oops. Go back to one of Scott's starred ones. Okay, let's go to this one. 12-team Superflex, half point, start 9. Give Mariota, Pollard, and the rookie 307 and get Antonio Gibson.
Done.
Yeah, I would take the Gibson side there.
Yeah, all I need for Gibson is to be what we thought he was, and this trade's an absolute steal. Even if he's like 70% of what we thought he was.
So let me ask you this: it's not this trade. Pollard plus a 204 or Antonio Gibson, guys.
I think in PPR it's actually closer, but in half PPR, I'm sitting here going like I can tell my story where Gibson finds 10 touchdowns, and the receptions are just going to matter a little bit less. We could also see a 60 catch Tony Pollard season too. But in half PPR, that's not as big as an advantage. So I think the half PPR, there's the swinger. If you told me that it was Mariota and a third rounder are just kind of throw in assets, but I can see where people would say I like Pollard just as much as Gibson in a full PPR, and they would take the extra 2 pieces. So I think the half PPR does swing in here. But in terms of your trade, I would actually take the Pollard in 204 in a PPR league because I think Pollard he's an injury away from being worth twice as much as Gibson, and he's still usable on his own. So I actually like the 204 in Pollard if I can move Gibson for that. You can barely get 204 for Gibson.
Yeah, for a player that's got a career high 10.8 fantasy points last year, Pollard carries a lot of hopes and dreams with him. So I might make this deal just because I know I'm going to move Pollard whenever there's any rumor about Zeke retiring or eating himself out of the league or, whatever.
I had myself on mute because apparently my wife's printing something next to me on the live stream now.
Unacceptable.
Oh, I still love her. We'll see her pretty face in a second. Okay, I'm going to put this one up and then go back on mute. 12-team Superflex, start 10. Give Deshaun Watson and Hollywood. Get Goff, Sky Moore, 223 firsts and a 23 third.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so if you're going to cash out on Watson, I'm good with this. If I'm getting 223 first, Sky Moore, I like probably more than I should, but he ain't far behind Hollywood for me. And I'm fine taking 223 first for Deshaun Watson and getting out of the specter that is his career.
This is a really good trade because I think that this is almost the peak of what you can actually cash out on Watson for. But at the same time, like I would be somewhat enticed if I could find the right roster to make this trade on the other end. Like I'd probably try to take out one of the firsts and make it a second, see if the person would buy if they're fearing on Watson. But I think I'd probably lean the sell Watson side and worry about the rest later. But good trade. I think both sides can look at this and go, man, because we've talked about this. The elite quarterbacks in a lot of leagues, they don't move.
No.
You know, they don't get traded. So if there's a chance where you can buy one, even in Watson's situation, it might be the only time in the next 2 years where there's one available. So good trade.
Good trade. Okay, let's hide this current one here, and let's put up this one right here. What have you guys say it? I've got a printer and fireworks right next to me. Go ahead. Somebody read it out.
Dynasty Superflex half-point PPR. 12 teams start 9. 23 first plus a second for Albert O and Chase Edmonds, or J.K. Dobbins, Jared Goff, Gus Edwards, and the 312.
Well, give me the first. Shane read that with so much animation that I'm not even really sure. I have to read the trade again. But give me the side
Luckily, I know I haven't lost my job after listening to Shane read that off. Back on mute.
Give me the side with the 23 first, just because you're getting some other like usable spare parts in there. I mean, nothing on the other side, I mean, is worth a 23 first alone. And honestly, the whole other side almost is worth a 23 first by itself. So give me the Albert O second and Chase Edmonds. I think that's a great trade. Whoever got that side, I'm not sure if the person that asked it gave that side. Hopefully not.
No. Yeah, I want the 23 first and Chase Edmonds side. I'm looking at that, and just the only other thing that's worth anything on the other side of the trade is J.K. Dobbins, and I would trade J.K. Dobbins for 23 first and literally any running back with 2 legs. I don't know about one, but 2 legs.
That's 2 straight trades that somebody has wanted to get Jared Goff. Is he starting to gain a little value now that we're getting closer to the season? Like someone actually wants him, meaning like he has some demand, like 5% of people.
So what it is
very desirable asset right now.
People are submitting their lineups and going, oh, I thought I was going to be able to start Jimmy G at this point. Guess not. I need to go find an applicable.
Or they had Baker Mayfield and Ben Roethlisberger, and it says either 0 point projection or FA. That's not going to work. I need a guy that actually has a team.
All right, let's hide that current one here. All right, let's go back to comments. We'll go to the banners, trades for the show. Let's pull up this one. 12-team Superflex start 10. Gave Jonathan Taylor and a 23 second. Got Swift, a 23 first, and a 23 third.
I'm pretty sure we talked about deals like this on the Swift video. I think this is a Swift and 23 first, plus you get a third all day. All day.
Yeah.
That'll do it.
Yeah, I don't care about the seconds and the thirds, but I basically just got at least 1.5, 2.5 first for John Taylor. That's good.
For John Taylor. You guys are tight like that. All right. 121 people in here. What's going on, everyone? You look amazing. You look amazing out there.
Hopefully none of you are responsible for lighting the fireworks.
Yeah. Well, no, it's good that you are, because you'll get fired from that job and you can come live stream with us every weekend. Okay, so let's hide this. Put that in the delete. Yeah, so I saw it popped up on one of the starred trades here. And this is actually a trade that I did today to celebrate the 4th of July. So let's talk it through, guys. You let me know how this went. So it's a 12-team Superflex PPR, 1.75 tight end premium. Start 11. I gave Joe Burrow and I got Trevor Lawrence and a 23 first. And this was in the Dynasty Pandemic League. What do you think?
I'll
give you some context in a bit. What do you think?
I don't know how I feel about Trevor Lawrence. I want to say this is a good deal, right? Because Trevor Lawrence, I was paying more for him than Joe Burrow straight up last year. But I'm so afraid of him that this feels like Joe Burrow for Mitch Trubisky in a 23 first.
Yep.
It's a 14-teamer, right? Is that we're in?
No, it's a 12. It's 12.
We're only in a 12-teamer?
No, this is the Pandemic League. This isn't.
I'm not in this league. I wasn't invited. I'm gonna lean Burrow, but it ain't by much.
Yeah, I mean, geez, it only says 12 teams on the screen.
Look, Scott, reading is not my strong suit.
He doesn't read good.
If he would have announced it, he would have had it down, but no, Clay announced it. Yeah, I think that I would have a hard time hitting accept if I was sent the Lawrence and the 23 first side. But at the same time, this actually feels like it feels like a good process if you can trade one of the I can blow up fantasy and have a QB one season quarterbacks, which is not Russell Wilson, Dak Prescott, Joe Burrow. I mean, those guys are not in that range. So I can see where you would take this. And I think your bet is probably that if you can just have Lawrence just not all Lawrence has to do is pass the test that he's going to be like a locked in franchise guy. He may never be as good as Joe Burrow, but if he ends up with a Matt Stafford or even slightly worse type of career, like you'll take it and just bank with the extra first. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I kind of see the appeal of doing this trade, but it probably has to be really targeted. And I'm assuming you're kind of punting towards next year or just trying to hedge your bets and gain assets.
Yeah, so my team was Burrow, Lance, and then I've also got Kirk Cousins, and it was Kirk Cousins, Trey Lance, and Joe Burrow. And my team is kind of in no man's land. I only had 123 first, and part of the reason why I took this one is the guy's first that I got. This guy Anatoly. Let's just say he's a little bit of a wild card. So when I saw that I was going to be getting that 23 first, I was like, oh, that one has a chance to be top three. Bring me that top three, Anatoly. Let's get that. But no, my team was kind of in no man's land, so I wanted the flexibility of that extra first. So we'll see what happens.
Well, it's weird too because a Lance, Burrow, Cousins quarterback room probably isn't good enough to help your owns first. You know what I mean? Like It's probably going to keep you to where you're not going to suck. So I kind of like the idea of this is a two-way bet. Like if Lawrence is bad, it's going to help your own first and you're going to get the extra first. But if Lawrence is good, I don't think it affects your win rate a lot because you're already banking on Lance smashing and Cousins being, QB 13 again. Like if that happens, I think you probably have just as good a chance to contend given that you have three quarterbacks.
It was one of the fairer trades I've received in that league. So I was very very happy about that. Okay, let's go. We've got one Scott trade and one Shane trade too, but we're gonna go back to the comments first. Our guests here. So we'll go to this one, 12-team full PPR, 2 QB, start 11. My 23 first and second, which is projected late, defending champ. Congratulations on the ship for Deebo. So a late 23 first and second for Deebo.
I'm fine with it, even though Deebo's not really on my list. You know what I mean? But like he could be on my international list. So I'll say, yeah, that's fine. I'm fine with that.
If you want to repeat too, and you're just going alpha, you're just throwing your third for another hired mercenary, or your first for a hired mercenary, go for it.
Exactly. Like after you win that first title, like that's not good enough. You can shame people, but you really need the second one so that you can really crow about how much better at fantasy football you are than everyone else in your league. And that is priceless. I mean, you can't put a price on making everyone feel bad about themselves. So I like the Deebo side.
So I think that typically we would say Deebo's right on the fringe of worth a 23 first. Personally, I wouldn't pay one. But at the same time, like we're slowly expanding our list. We got to do a show too on what 23 first in the current market you'd be willing to buy with. Because we've talked all off season about acquire him, get him, trade for him. I wouldn't give up a 23 first for this guy. But it's going to change. It changes as more teams in your league are willing to sell players now. As we get closer to the season, it brings people that want to buy players to contend, but then you also get people that are like, oh, I haven't looked at my team since before the rookie draft, and maybe I should start selling before everyone else, doesn't want to buy from me, So I think this is probably one of those where if I'm in 20 leagues and I've identified like, man, I want to get rid of this first and second, like, okay, I'm okay with it. And that's what he basically said in the chat was like, he's the defending champ. This is going to be a bad pick. So I'll do it.
Yep. Okay. Let's, ooh, I like this one. 12-team Superflex PPR, start 10. Gave Jamar Chase, got T. Higgins, and a projected early 23 first. Strong chance at the 101.
Man, we're both silent on this one.
Well, Shane's on mute. Yeah.
But he's not talking.
Here it comes.
I'm watching him.
Well, no, I'm thinking it's just because, my brain's like, no, you don't give up Jamar Chase for a singular wide receiver in a first, right? Like but yeah, I could give up Jamar Chase for T. Higgins. I probably ask for more back. I could probably take this deal, especially if it's projected to be a 101. I'm guessing hopefully that's a strong projection. Like he's done that. He's put that up on Dynasty Nerds and Fantasy Pros, even had Yahoo grade that other team maybe just for a third set of eyes. Maybe they're starting Jared Goff and Jimmy Garoppolo, so you're feeling pretty secure. I could do it, and I'd hate myself immediately once I made the trade, but I could make the trade.
Yeah, and I think that two components here. One, you're kind of correlating your bet by getting specifically Higgins back instead of Chase here because it's the same offense. Like you can probably see a realm where they both smash, but you can also look at an outcome and go, man, what if Chase were to get hurt for a month? Higgins basically could become Chase for a month, have a similar season, and I still got the 23 first. And if something were to happen to Chase, my 23 first is probably even better. If the team is already that bad, I don't know why they're trading away Higgins plus a 23 first for Chase. Doesn't seem like a good process on the other side. The only thing, if Shane said ask for more, that could kind of kill the deal. You know what I mean? Because that's a pretty strong first offer. The one alternative, Shane is on mute. I don't know if he's trying to refute my point. I would actually counter with, I would swap my first and second with him, or my 2 second rounders. Like I would give up my second for his second. Doubling down on your bet. You know what I mean? That's the 201 for my, I don't know. He doesn't even say anything about his team, but if it's like a mid second, then you gained a couple slots there. But I like the trade. I'm tempted. If you're really telling me that's like, you look at this roster and you go, man, that team's horrible. We all have those in our league where you look at the manager and you're like, there's no way that team's going to escape top 2, like that. I think wouldn't you guys agree next year, the 101's probably equivalent to Chase?
I don't know if it is, but
pretty close.
It's close enough.
It's gonna be, yeah.
Well, and that's the other thing is, and a super flex, it probably could be more than Chase. I like
probably
that.
Similar if you have an elite running back and an elite quarterback to choose from. That's where the value's gained. It's not just Bijan Robinson or CJ Stroud. If there's a tier of like 2 or 3 players that are top 2 round startup picks, then you smash this trade, I think.
Yeah. And I was just saying, you don't reject the trade. You just send the parallel trade and see.
Exactly.
Let's talk about that. What do you guys do in that scenario when you send an offer, they don't reject it, but they counter trying to nickel and dime you for a little bit more? Do you? Because I pulled the offer deal.
I know I have them. So yeah, I'm not going to accept that counter. They could have declined and sent me a new offer. They kept that one open, so I know I've got that one.
See, then you guys don't play enough psychological warfare with people, because I'll counter with another version of it, and if they decline that, I'll go, all right, fuck you, and then I'll decline their offer.
or do you revoke the initial trade and basically pull it off the table? Because essentially that's Clay's saying, they're going to accept it, right? They're just trying to maybe make it a little more in their favor to see if you take it, but you already know they're going to accept the one you sent originally.
Yep.
It's a delicate dance, though, so I don't want to revoke it because some people get spooked. You know what I mean? I revoke it, they get all nervous. I just want to be gentle with them, let them know these are ongoing talks and that we're almost there. There's no need to get concerned.
So what if you're offered this deal and you don't accept it, but then you counter and you try to add a little bit to the Higgins and first side?
Mm-hmm.
Do you just take it? I mean, is that one of those where you just take it and say, okay, I think I won the trade? Or because then what if it gets revoked on you? Have you ever done it where they revoke it on you and then you send back their trade to them and you're like, hey, man, I would have taken it.
And then they ghost. You never hear from
them. That's fine. I'm willing to take that risk. But what usually happens is the other owner is so confused that you then come into a standstill and it just sits there for like 2 hours, both offers, and you just go, all right, fuck it, I'll just take the first offer.
Hey,
Shane says he gets confused.
Shane does get confused. Okay, let's see here. Super flex 10 team, start 10 PPR. I'm in a rebuild with Josh Allen. What type of return should I get? Josh Allen, if you're in a rebuild, you don't necessarily want to trade him away. He's a great rebuild quarterback too. But if you're in a full-on rebuild and you want to blow it up, he's worth what the equivalent value-wise of 4 firsts, right, guys? So
it's a 10 team though. That's the thing.
It is a 10
Like
team.
this is the situation where I would actually be willing to pivot off of Allen to
10 teams.
I don't want to say I'd go down as far as like Dak or Burrow, but if I can get like Lamar Jackson in a first or Kyler Murray in a first, I wouldn't want to do those trades necessarily in a 12 team, but in a 10 team where like this quarterback scarcity is a little bit less and the higher end guys are probably in a tier that still separates themselves from everybody else a little bit more. I would probably be willing just to go down 1 tier and see if I can do that. See if someone really values Josh Allen that much further than like Lamar Jackson.
Look, if I could trade him for Joe Burrow and a couple firsts, I'll do it. If I can trade him for 3 firsts, if it's a full-on rebuild and just the rest of my team is just herpes, all right, make the move. But I want at least 3 firsts for him.
This, you see, guys, this is the kind of stuff that you don't hear, right? This is what you don't see that I have to edit. I've got this whole outtakes thing that
it is a live stream though.
But if you're ever looking at the edit, you're like, man, that's kind of choppy right there. It's like, yeah, because I had to aggressively edit Shane. That's what it is. So
would you take if you didn't get a quarterback back in that deal, real quick, Shane? Would you take Jamar Chase and a 23 first?
Yeah.
In a 10 team?
Yeah.
I mean, you could also go that way and just say, I'm going to worry about quarterback later because it's a 10 team. They should be easier to find.
Yeah.
So literally go to like Chase and Jefferson or Pitts and be like, give me one of those 3 plus a 23 first, and I would take it.
Yeah, exactly. One of those guys.
So speaking of Josh Allen, I threw this one up here since we're talking about him. 12-team Dynasty Superflex tight end premium. Get Josh Allen, give Dak, Josh Jacobs, and 2 23 thirds.
Literally close the window and go accept it.
Yes. Josh Allen side.
Yeah, that's not close.
Done.
You do it.
Yep. Give a third if you need to.
I mean, you should just give a third anyway because that's
just,
a shame.
Just throw another third on there.
Yeah.
Okay, so we will hide that one. Okay, let's go to Paul. What's up, Paul? We talk with him a lot in the comments. 12-team Superflex PPR start 10. Give Rodgers, get 24 first and Renfro. I have Kyler, Mahomes, Brady, Tannehill, all drafted at value. Only hesitation is losing the QB leverage on the league. # leverage. What do you think, guys?
I like the process. I think that you're not getting a 23 first for Rodgers. So you have to go to the 24 if you want to liquidate. We had a similar question earlier, and I said liquidate makes sense with this team. The other one also had Brady and Tannehill. So it seems like those are the guys you want to hold because the market really probably won't give you a first for either of those guys. But then he has Kyler and Mahomes. So I actually like this deal just from a process standpoint. The one point Paul makes is that it gives somebody else, it probably bails the other team out of a quarterback problem, and it doesn't force them to give up their 23 first. But I don't hate the process. I do think Renfro is probably right on the fringe of being startable in the start 10. So maybe you can trade Renfro in the 24 first for a 23 or try something like that and get a better player. But I don't hate it given the context.
I don't hate it anyway. You got enough quarterbacks. You don't have to hoard them all. Aaron Rodgers isn't going to win that league. It's not going to happen.
Well, and that's a great point by Shane, is that when you have teams like this where you are really loaded at quarterback, especially, you know it's a numbers game, right? Like there's only probably like 20 to 24 tradable quarterbacks. And I'm not talking about like the bottom end guys like, okay, Drew Lock might start, but nobody's giving you more than a third. So you don't really count him as like an actual market value quarterback.
Yep.
If you have 5 of the 20, which basically he does, or 5 of the 24 here, you know there's 3 or 4 teams that like they're rolling out Mariota, Trubisky, Lock, like they're banking on that guy being their QB2. So if you can go to a team and be like, hey, I'm willing to trade you a quarterback, it's really a sabotage deal. You're looking at a bad team trying to get a future first for them. And there's a shot Rodgers correlates well with a first 2 years away.
Yes, he
You know,
does.
so I really like the process, and think about this when you have teams like this too. It feels bad on the surface, but the process is good.
Good process. Okay, so let me go to the banners. Let's put up this one right here. 12 team Superflex PPR 1.5 tight end premium start 10. This again, it's funny. I was looking at the analytics from the last live stream and we said, guys, do this right now. And there was a spike of people going back and rewatching that part of the live stream. Yeah, I'm creepy like that, big brothering the analytics. But anyway, do this. Gave AJ Brown in the 23 second, got DJ Moore in the 23 first. Right, guys? I mean, this is what we're trying to do. This is a way to, if you can still do this in your league, do this.
By law, you're required to make this trade. The Supreme Court can't stop you from making this trade. You got to do it.
I think you can honestly insert any receiver into the AJ Brown side except for Chase, Jefferson, and maybe CeeDee Lamb, just because of the market value. But that's it.
Yeah,
that's literally it. Any other trade, and you put a different receiver in there, and you make this kind of trade. Done.
So what if it's even if it's Hollywood on the 23 first side? So give AJ Brown a 23 second. You got Hollywood in the 23 first. How low can we go on that side? In other words, instead of DJ Moore, let's insert in the weakest wide receiver we can to where we'd still do it.
I think you might have. I think you literally just might have, like right
Hollywood.
off the instinct. Yeah, because even there, I'm starting to go, I don't know. I mean, like I know the process is good, but at some point you don't want to tear down so far from what could be an elite receiver or elite player at all to a non-elite asset.
So it's Bateman, would you do Bateman?
Yes.
Would you do Bateman? Would you do Ayuk?
No.
I think I would. It's just a bet on AJ Brown not being a top 12 receiver. We've done AJ Brown shows where the numbers aren't friendly for him finishing in the top 12.
What about Darnell Mooney? So gave AJ Brown a 23 second, and you get Darnell Mooney in a 23 first.
I mean, I'd rather have Ayuk over Mooney, but I think it's the same type of question. The idea is the 23 first worth more than AJ Brown? To me, it's pretty close. Like, that's not a guy I'm just sending any 23 first for to get. You know what I mean? So I think that's where the process you have to think about. Okay, clearly when I'm turning it into that type of question, then, you know, that's where I have to say the second and another receiver, and the receivers you are naming are pretty much spot on. It's not as big of a win as this trade, but I like the process still.
All right, let's go back to, man, time flies. It's sad. I see that we're 48 minutes in. It's like we could do this for 3 hours, right, guys? Okay, let's go back to Alejandra. This is the one that I was going to pop up earlier because she said, hey, from Mexico. What's up? Thanks for joining. PPR, not super flex, not a tight end premium. This is what we already put up. Kelce or DJ Moore? We still like DJ Moore.
Yes.
Thank you for saying that you were from Mexico the first time around. We missed that one. Okay, let's go to this one. 12-team full PPR Superflex start 10. Zeke, Pittman, 23 mid-second for Claypool, Gibson, and 223 mid-first.
Wait, what?
I get the Claypool side. My RBs be Gibson, Mixon, Dobbins, Sanders. Okay. But
I want the Claypool, Gibson, and 223 first sides.
Yeah.
I mean, and your running back room is fine with Gibson, Mixon, Dobbins, Miles Sanders. I mean, they're kind of all running back twos. Maybe Mixon cracks the top 8 at best, but all day.
Yeah, all day. Okay, let's go to this one. Dan Marino, 12-team Superflex PPR start 10. Mike Evans and a 23 second, mid to late, or T. Higgins. How valuable are 23 seconds? Thanks, fellas. Thank you, Dan.
Give me the Higgins side, but just let everybody know I'm gonna do a leverage show in July on a full 23 breakdown. So I still don't think that the 23 seconds are any more valuable than they were this year, though. Outside of the top maybe 16 picks. If he says mid to late and that's the 209, then I'll do this all day to upgrade the wide receiver, get 6 years younger at wide receiver.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say. I'm paying a second for the age discount. That's great. I'd do that all day if that's all it took.
So you'll do a full on breakdown of it, Scott, in your leverage show. But let me ask this question. So if you're in a more casual league, once the more casual league hears about the 23 first late, right? Let's say they're not completely up to speed like us psychopaths are, right? They're going to find out the 23 class is awesome. Are the casual leagues going to think the 23 seconds, especially the early ones, are way better than your typical second rounder?
Well, so I guess here's my initial thoughts. I'll keep it to 30 seconds. I think the 23 seconds are going to be, if you end up, let's just say the theory would be if I can acquire 5 of them, I'm hoping 1 or 2 of them are in the top 4 of the round. If I'm stuck with the 212, honestly, that's no better than trading it for like Zamir White this year. I wouldn't have a problem doing that. But if it's the 201, 202, you're going to be getting a probably Sky Moore, Chris Olave level player at that pick next year, because we're banking that the running backs and quarterbacks are going to push those receivers down. There's going to be 5 or 6 receivers in the top 40 or 50 of any draft. You may not like them. You may not like their landing spot, but you're going to be able to say, hey, I drafted, George Pickens or Sky Moore's profile, and I'm going to get him at the 204 next year instead of the 110 this year. Right. That's the difference. So yeah, I want to have those picks, but sometimes they're hard to project. So I may just try to get as many seconds as I can if I can get them cheaply. That's the theory.
Okay, we're going to hide that one. Start 11, PPR, Cam Akers for Jerry Jeudy.
Akers.
Keeping the Akers side. Running back.
Boy, Shane, you're excited to answer that one. Oh, he's muted.
You're on mute.
I'm not on mute.
I thought he was asleep.
You guys are muting me. Yeah, I'll take the Cam Akers side only because I think I could trade him for more.
Yeah, no, definitely. Okay. Eli Smith. So 12-team full PPR super flex, start 10. Get Justin Herbert and Brian Robinson. Give T-Law, Elijah Moore, a 23 early first and a 23 late first. So you're giving T-Law and 223 firsts and Elijah Moore and getting Herbert and B-Rob.
It's a lot. I'm not going to lie to you. It's a lot.
That's like 4 plus firsts, close to it for Herbert.
Yeah.
That's a lot to pay. I mean, let me ask you, Shane, would you pay it?
Yeah, it's a lot. But
then I know what side you're on.
The position you overpay for, if you're ever going to overpay, is quarterback, and you should only do it for a top 4 or 5 dynasty quarterback. I think Herbert's done enough over 2 years to show us he's that dude. So, look, I wouldn't feel great about it, but I'll do it.
What if it were a start 12?
Then probably not. Matter of fact, no, I know I wouldn't in start 12 because I'm in start 12 leagues. And even though you're like, oh, it's only 2 starters, how different could it be? Holy crap sticks.
It's a difference between DJ Dallas and
In start 12, I couldn't do this. In start 9, start 10, I could do this. Honestly, in start 11, I'd probably be like, it's a little much. Yeah. I got to hold on to T-Law or one of those first. But start 10, it's an overpay, but I can live with it.
Yeah, the hard thing for me is that when I have a guy like Herbert, it really messes with the way I've constructed my team because I'm so meticulous. But the value feels like if there was ever a time, like you probably could go and send this trade in any league you have Mahomes or Herbert or Allen, you may not get it accepted either. You know what I mean? There will be like 40% of the dynasty managers that would go, no, I'm not paying that much. Like, I'm fine just betting on the side that I already have. The T-Law team probably has a certain type of roster already, especially if they have multiple 23 firsts.
Yep.
So I think this is one where it's like you could go to the team that has all the future firsts and, has Lance and Lawrence. They don't want to they're not wanting to spend every bullet they have today to upgrade in one spot, And yeah, I agree. Start 12. Start 12, you're probably saying, okay, I'm going to be able to move. I can split 2 of those other assets and turn it into 4 more. So good trade. Big boy trade. You only have like one of those to use per every 2 years or something like that if you're going to spend up.
Yeah. When people ask us how to wake up trading in your league, drop a bomb like that. Yeah. That'll wake some people up. Okay, let's go to Darren Johnson's here. 12-team Superflex, half point, tight end premium. Josh Jacobs, the 109 and a 23 first, or the 101 and 107. So should we call it Josh Jacobs and Jahan Dotson and the 23 first, or Breece Hall and who are we going to call the 107 boys? James Cook for Shane.
Jameson. Let's call him Jameson.
I don't really think there's a big difference between the 107 and the 109.
Yeah.
Now, I think it probably gets closer as you probably can say with more certainty who those picks are going to be now compared to like 2 days after the rookie draft started. But this just comes down to, like, is this enough to pivot off Breece Hall? You and I think all three of us would have been trading 103, 104 for a 23 first. So, like, you're getting Jacobs and essentially a 23 first for Breece. And that, again, process versus, what do you think about Breece Hall?
It's a smart play. Just do it. Don't think about that you like Breece, that he has a fun name, that he's probably a top 3 dynasty running back, and then realize, well, that really isn't as valuable as I think it is, and do the trade. Okay,
let's go to 12-team Superflex PPR start 11 rebuild. Amari Cooper, James Conner, Tyler Boyd for DK and a 23 second. I will take DK and
run to accept
second.
It.
Yeah, dude, you just got DK, like a guy that could be a highly sought after asset for a bunch of
declining assets. Yeah. You're just getting rid of declining assets.
I think Boyd for a 23 second is pretty fair. And then you just look at Amari Cooper or James Conner, and that's all it takes to get me a top 10 receiver. That all day.
Yep. Okay, let's go to Heavy. What's up, Kev? How are you, sir? 12-team Superflex PPR start 10. Gave J.K. Dobbins, got Melgo and a 23 first. Give me that.
Hopefully this was like 3 months ago when this person made this trade, because I don't know who would be insane enough to actually accept the Dobbins side on this right now.
A Baltimorean? Is that what they're called?
Or like me?
Yeah, someone from the Baltimore side of town, I'm thinking. But I'll take Melgo in the pick.
Yeah. Okay. Enough said there. Nice work, Kev. Okay. Here, let's throw up another one from him. 12-team Superflex PPR start 10. Gave Mooney, got Claypool and Pickens. So you're stacking up those Pittsburgh wide receivers, huh? Yes, I will take the got again.
You could end up with the top 2 receivers for the Steelers, and it's almost guaranteed one of them is probably going to be more valuable than Mooney next year. So, that's I don't understand it. I just don't. Again, the God side. I don't know who these people in this league are, but literally, if you just combine those 2 trades, man, nicely done. Nicely done.
Okay, let's go. We always do this, like 58 minutes, and here I have a bunch more that I still have to go through.
Fly through them.
Let's fire away, boys. Okay, 12-team Superflex PPR start 10. Haven't had the rookie draft yet. Gave the 101, the 112, 206, and DJ Moore. Got the 104, 23 first, DK Metcalf, and Ridley. Okay. Haven't had the rookie draft yet. 12-team start 10.
Oh, I like the got side. I'll take the 23 first, DK Metcalf, and the 101, and then Ridley. Hopefully, I can put him on my taxi squad or something.
Yeah, I'll take the got side. It's similar to the one we just talked about, except for it's getting the 104 back instead of Josh Jacobs. DJ Moore and Metcalf probably a wash. It's really an extra 112. I can see the appeal of the team thinking they're giving away DK and Ridley that are not going to help them this year, but love it.
12-team Superflex PPR start 11. Current QBs are Rodgers, Jameis, Fields, and Locke. Give Aaron Rodgers and Tim Patrick. Get a 23 first, 23 second, and Deontay Johnson. I'll take the get.
The 23 first is more valuable than Rodgers.
Yeah.
So you're getting Deontay Johnson and a second, and all you're giving up with Tim Patrick.
Yeah.
Smash.
Deontay.
You could send a second and Deontay Johnson right now and probably get Derek Carr. And honestly, then you just went from Aaron Rodgers to a 23 first and Derek Carr.
Yeah. I'm not looking forward to starting Jameis and hopefully Fields, but yeah, I get it.
Okay. Let's go to a couple others that were starred here. Okay, 12-team Superflex, half point, start 9. We already did this one.
Still Gibson.
Still Gibson.
It's still Gibson. Nice.
Although his value's probably gone down about 5% since we entered it last time.
Contender, 12-team Superflex, 24 first for Kirk Cousins. My actual 2 starting QBs are Dak and Zach Wilson.
Love it.
Yeah, very good deal.
When you are a good team and you have already loaded up on 23 first, if you can move your 24 first for a smashing asset this year, it only helps your picks and your team next year. I love doing that move. Don't trade the 23 first. Yep.
Yeah, this is such a comforting move. Give up that 24 first, and you've got three starting quarterbacks.
Yep, love it.
Good times. Okay, let's hide that current one. Let's go back here. We've got a Pollard and Godwin or Javonte Williams.
I'm taking Javonte. The community is ready to explode all over your face with some Javonte love. So I'm taking Javonte. Yeah,
any format. The only time it'd be closer is if it's like a start 12 PPR. But yeah, Javonte.
12-team Superflex, start 10, full PPR. Traded Deebo for a mid to late 23 first, 24 first. Nice.
Well nice.
Done. Yeah, we're kind of on the fence if we'd even just do 123 first. So that's almost a free 24 first for us. Okay, we'll de-heart that. All right, let's go to Joseph. 12-team, start 10, PPR 1 QB. Give DK the 103, 105. Get CeeDee 23 first and the 108.
Done.
Yeah, you won. You win.
Yeah, like 105, 108, not a big difference in a single QB, really.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, we're going to rip through these 3, and then we're going to do a Shane trade and a Scott trade. I hope you guys are okay with that. Let us be indulgent here and give one of ours. Okay, so 12-team Superflex PPR start 11. Rebuild.
Yeah, we still like the DK side.
We did this one. Good. Yeah. All right. Mark Jankowski. Have we done this one yet? No,
but he makes a good point. What do you guys think?
I think on the clock you can trade 23 seconds for. Yeah, that's definitely something that I'm planning on doing. That's for sure.
I think it's going to end up. It's going to have to be those top 3 or 4 picks, and the draft capital is going to have to stay true to what the projections look like right now. But I think it's possible. Whereas in a lot of other years, it's. Just think of the thought we're even entertaining it. It's possible this year. It's like, can you trade your 105 for a 23 first and you get laughed at?
And we're all in those leagues where, there's people who have given up all of their picks like immediately, right? And we're going to get to that 23 class and they're going to have no 23 picks. They're still going to have that 24 first somehow, or somebody's 24 first. They're going to want to get into the 23 class. And then there you go. Load them up. Okay. And Jeff Price, 12-team Superflex, half point, start 10. Give Jefferson. Ooh, this is a big one here. All right. Give JJ. Oh, I thought that was give all of that stuff. Give JJ, get 23 first, 24 first, and DK. I'll take the get. I'll do it.
Yeah. Look, I don't like spreading out the picks like that. I hate spreading out my assets like that, but I'm fine with it. It's still, at the end of the day, 3.4.5 first. So it's a fair deal.
Yeah, I mean, think about this from the other side. Would either of you been able to send this for one player that's not a quarterback?
Yeah, I'm not.
Especially in half PPR, it just feels like you're betting you're angling a ton towards one player.
Yeah.
So by default, I like the get side. Good trade.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, we'll hide that current one. All right, we are going to a Shane trade here. Which one am I going to pick for you? Okay. Shane trade, 14-team Superflex PPR, start 11. Gave Kirk Cousins, got Mitch Trubisky, Sam Howell, and a 23 first. Process.
I like the move trading away the Cousins side because this is just one of those where
look at Shane's face. He's like,
he starts out with 2 bad games and his value could even rebound because he plays better, but his value is never going to be to a point where the market will give a 23 first. When you get into these QB2s, and I know Shane will say, oh, Cousins is a QB1. I mean, realistically, the quarterbacks are really strong at the top. So if Cousins is QB14, like I think that's probably right on projection. Maybe he's QB10. Like that's where his range of outcomes is. But the market fluctuates on these guys where it's like not every league you can get a 23 first for even Cousins or Carr or Rodgers or Stafford, you know what I mean? Or Hurts. Like there's leagues where you can't get that. Shane had one in his inbox. And I love getting Trubisky back. Because I mean, man, if you
definitely.
you can see a stretch where Trubisky over 6 games produces 85-90% of Cousins, and then he gets pulled, and then he's not starting anymore, and then he's worthless. But even in a 14-teamer, I like having Trubisky on my roster. You're never going to cut him. 12-teamer, I'd be less likely to do this unless I'm getting one single piece back. I mean, Sam Howell adds nothing to the trade, other than you can probably sell him to somebody.
Yeah, that was just specifically it. I was like, all right, I get another piece in here just because.
Yeah, this reminds me of, I think, maybe one of our underrated episodes, the haves and the have-nots, like the value of the QB2 show that we did. This is a good one to go back and watch. We talk a lot about this kind of stuff, the value of these QB2s. Okay, let's hide that one. Okay, let's go to a Scott trade here. 12-team Superflex PPR, 0.15 point per carry, start 11. Gave a 24 first and Wan'Dale Robinson and got Mike Evans. And you have a lot of 23 firsts already in this league, Scott. Is that what you said? Or
yeah, it's similar. It was actually similar to the question we had. I think I have 6 firsts in 23. So it's similar to the question we just had a couple minutes ago, where it's like if you can bypass moving any of those 23s and still buy a player that could smash next year. I mean, I didn't have to dip into my 23 first. I can definitely get the 24 first back if I want.
Right. Yeah, I like this trade. I mean, Wan'Dale's fun to dream about what he could be. But, I mean, if we're looking at what his range of outcomes are, he's not a very good prospect, to be quite frank. And he's also 4'3". And it's a 24 pick, right? I got plenty of time to get those back, and it's not a coveted class like as the 2023 class is. So it's not like I can't get those picks back or a pick in that draft.
Okay, let's see here. Should we set a time when we're gonna stop? Should we just keep partying? What do you think, boys? We'll have a private chat. We'll take this offline, right? In the meantime, Mac James, happy 4th. 12-team Superflex, total rebuild. Should I ship off Ramondre, Darrell Williams, and a 24 second for a 24 first? Yeah.
Yeah, I can't imagine you're going to get like individual seconds for each of those guys, because then even if you did, you would just want to try to turn that into a first. So, yeah, just cut out the middleman, take the first, call it a day. Yeah, giving up the 24 second isn't great, but whatever. There's a world difference between a first and a second.
Yep.
I can see why the other team would want to do that, though, because they are looking at your team saying, the 24 first is not going to be good, or you know what I mean? And your 24 second is going to be very good. So I can see where they would do that. So you're kind of pigeonholing yourself now. Like, I better get my team into shape where my 24 second isn't 202, I like it. I like both sides, but I would take the first.
Okay, let's see. 16-team Dynasty 1 QB. Dude took over orphan, only has Baker. Offered Baker and 206 for Carr. So he would. Okay, so you're giving up Carr and getting Baker and the 206.
So when I read this question, I'm
Derek Carr. The 206 isn't enough. I like Baker, but
in a 16 team, I'm not great with math, so that's like the 22nd pick.
Yeah, 210.
Yeah, I'm not great
in a
with
single
that.
QB. That's probably like you're dipping into the.
But it's just 16 teams, so it's not truly a single QB. I don't like it. I would hold on to the Carr side, whichever side who has Carr.
See, I read it as someone else took over an orphan and they're wanting to ship off Baker and the 206 to get Carr. That's the way I read it.
I would still tell them no.
So you'd take the Baker and 206 side?
No, I would take the Carr side.
Right. Yeah. He's giving Baker in the 206
to get Carr. Okay.
Yeah. Now the question is, do you really want to make that trade? Is your orphan horrible? You know what I mean? if your orphan's horrible, do you really want to make that trade necessarily?
I got a feeling if he's looking at Derek Carr that his orphan isn't horrible. He's looking in that range of quarterback where he's close enough.
Yep. Cool.
Was offered.
Oh yeah, this is Shane's specialty.
Yeah, was offered a 25 first for Trey Lance and a 1 QB 12 team. I already have Josh Allen, so he'd be sitting on my bench unless there's. I heard you guys love 25 firsts.
I'm going to assume you drafted Trey Lance since it's a one quarterback league. You must have drafted him in like the second or third round. I was like, you know what? If I get any first for him, I'm going to take it. So someone's put your feet to the fire. Sure. I'll take a 25 first. I don't know if I'll be alive. Pretty good chance I won't be, but I'll pass it down to my children and they can use that asset.
Okay, so future value, the first is worth more than a quarterback in most circumstances. I think because it's Trey Lance. If it was Joe Burrow, if it was a quarterback that has less pure upside, I would almost be like, okay, I'll do it just based on process. But if Trey Lance hits, he becomes one of like the one of 4 or 5 quarterbacks in Dynasty that probably is worth at least a 23 or a 20, any first in a single quarterback, you know? I'd give it one more year. And Trey Lance might turn into absolute dust. But if he doesn't, he's worth more than a 25 first. I can probably get a 24 next year. So I would hold.
Yep. Okay. We'll go until my wife has court in the morning. I need to be a respectful husband. She's not the one being prosecuted. She's doing the prosecuting.
Sure.
Just to confirm. Sure. She got in trouble today.
She's charged with using the printer during a live stream.
Oh, yeah. Okay, 12 teams, start 10, half PPR, super flex. Give Swift, receive Amon-Ra St. Brown, lay 23 first and Zeke. Yeah, that's a great one. Definitely worth it.
Like it.
But hey, I'm trying to stack up on as many Lions as I can. The green arrow pointing up and to the right. Okay, let's hide that one. 1 QB, start 9. Gave Deebo and Renfro, got Pittman, Bateman, and a 23 second.
I like that. I do. I like that a lot.
If you're looking at Pittman and you think he can be close to Deebo, then you win the trade. But I could also look at the Deebo and Renfro side, and I could squint and say Renfro is as good as Bateman. Then you're
you gotta close your eyes for that. That's not even squinting.
I'd take the GOT side just for the resale aspect of that side.
True. That is true. You can probably flip Bateman more if you don't really like him.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll hide that. Thanks for answering, stick man. Let's do this one. 10 team Superflex, start 9, half point. 0.5 tight end premium, 6 point passing touchdown. Give Murray, Metcalf, Fant. Get Tua, Pitts, and a late 23 first.
Man, Pitts is so good.
So it's
Pitts is so good.
Pitts.
But Murray's a top 5 quarterback.
It is a 10 team. It is a 10 team.
It's only starting 9.
And it's 6 point passing touchdowns.
QBs are Hurts and Ryan. Okay, wide receivers Deebo, Diggs, Evans, and Godwin.
I don't want to give up Murray.
I think I'm keeping the Kyler side.
Yeah, I'm not giving up Murray. I'm not doing it.
If it's a 1.75 tight end premium, give me Pitts. I'll talk myself into that, but
you definitely have a framework to get it done. If you've you've
got something there. You can get something done. You're
so I'll play the contrary side on this. I think in a half PPR 10 team, the quarterbacks are less, valued slightly less. 6 point passing touchdown. The gap between Tua and Kyler is slightly less. But I think the biggest piece is the 23 first. Let's say that's not a late first and it's 105 and it ends up being a running back. In a half PPR, start 9, I'm going to value that more than DK Metcalf or any of those other receivers he has on the screen. I think that's the big thing here. If that's going to be a pick where you end up having to pick a receiver or a quarterback with that draft pick, you lose. But if you end up getting like the RB3 and it's like a Javonte Williams level player,
Yeah, you kind of have to, though. That's the thing, because Tua's got a great chance of being now. Even though you said that golf is smaller, it's still like the moon to the earth. It's still really far.
You have to get that, but you also now have the power of the 23 first to go, hey, can I go trade for, a running back? So I think that's the only thing that hangs it up. But I can see what you guys are saying by just keeping Kyler. So we'll move on.
Okay. We are going to do one more here before we do that one. Thanks everyone for joining. This was awesome. Still have 135 eyeballs on here.
Awesome. Thank you guys.
Which is great. Don't leave yet. We've got
leaving.
one more. So can somebody do the like count? How many likes are we rocking with this many eyeballs? Look down yourself. If you haven't hit that like, smash that like for us. Do us a favor.
Still not allowed to look. I don't know.
Shane still does not have access. Okay, here is our last one for the evening. 12-team Superflex, start 10, contender. QBs are Lamar, Watson, Ryan, which you pay your own 24 first and 25 first for Hurts. Or wait for what Watson is. I would do it. I would pay it. I would pay it. Definitely.
We were just talking about 24s. I got 2 years to get those back. 25 might as well be 2030, to be honest with you. There's plenty of time. And both of them will suck if you hit on if Hurts hits, because you'll have such an advantage with Hurts and Lamar that other people will go home and cry at night.
Take that trade and then go try to get a 23 second for Matt Ryan, and you'll feel great about yourself.
Yeah. You could that could be a beautiful thing if you have Hurts, Lamar, and Watson next year.
And that's it. That's the best part, is that you can trade, assuming Hurts hits, you can just trade one of them and get all that plus back.
Yeah, you could trade Watson for 3 firsts next year when he's worth that again.
Yep.
That is it, guys. Happy 4th of July. Want to say anything, Shane? Parting words?
No, just appreciate everyone turning out for our live stream. Thought we'd have a little difficulty with the fans tonight, just because there's fireworks going on. But you guys know fireworks are lame, and this is more fun. So I appreciate everyone coming out.
Well, I think 1, people saw the matching blue shirts, so they hung in. 2, they saw the nice banner. Well done. Yeah.
Thank you.
And 3, I bet you if you look at those analytics, when Shane started announcing the trades, it just went boom.
Oh, yeah.
Just like a firework. That's when everyone really jumped in. But thanks for everybody for being here. Great job, Clay, steering the ship. You only put up the same trade about 4 times, so overall good success rate.
Yeah, and I don't think I missed any from the community post. But we're gonna try to do a live stream every week. So if you have if you're subscribed, make sure you click that bell too, so you get notifications. I do post things in the community post tab on YouTube, so you'll be able to see those as well. So we love you all. We'll see you next time.
Peace.
See you later.
Happy 4th.
Happy 4th.